Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we are going to hit today is something that snuck right under the radar while we are dealing with the fire hose of breaking information that happened last week. We've got some movement on some stuff in appropriation bills around gun rights. And this is an interesting one because we won this one, but there's resistance building. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this one. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. All right, my brothers and sisters, we're going to dive into the Senate. You know, all the hullabaloo has been focused on the Supreme Court. It's been focused on Roger T. Benitez kicking Gavin Newsom's little butt. Then it's also been focused on the Supreme Court again, and then the House with some interesting scenarios on the speakership. However, in the Senate, Louisiana Senator Kennedy cuts a deal with Schumer on gun rights. Now listen to this, because this is something that you did not hear anything about. Kennedy cuts deal with Schumer on veterans' gun rights amendment. So if you're a veteran, you might want to pay attention to this one, because this is a big one, and it's not in the House, and it's not executive. This is in the Senate, and the Democrats compromised with Kennedy. So this is moving forward with Democratic support. This one's going to go somewhere. Check this out. Senator John Kennedy, Republican, Louisiana, said Thursday he negotiated a deal with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat, New York, and leader of the Democrats, on an amendment allowing military veterans whose finances go into conservatorship to keep their firearms, a proposal Schumer previously called a poison pill to the Senate's minibus appropriations bill. Now, this is a bill that's going to fund the government. That's why this is important. This isn't a gun control bill. This is a tack-on amendment that Kennedy has now assurances that it's going to happen from Schumer. But Schumer, on the Democrat side, is having a little bit of a rebellion with none other than Chris Murphy, Mr. Gun Control in the Senate. But let me show you what this actually does, because like I said, I haven't seen this anywhere else. Now, the Louisiana senator said he expects to get a vote on his proposal after he agreed to modify the language. As a result, Kennedy said he will let the long-delayed appropriations bill advance. Quote, "I just left Chuck's office. I think we got it worked out," Kennedy told The Hill. "We're going to hotline some new language, and frankly, I think it makes my amendment stronger. Now, not everyone's going to be happy." Now, skirt. If you've been in the gun world for more than 2 minutes, you know when you're following politicians around gun legislation or gun amendments and they say now, not everyone's going to be happy, you need to look closer, get out the magnifying glass. All right? So check this out, because this is what everyone's not going to be happy about. Kennedy said Wednesday that he was blindsided when Schumer denied him a vote on the gun rights-related amendment. "They blindsided me. My amendment was submitted 5 weeks ago. Everybody looked at it, and there were no objections," he said. "All of a sudden, a bunch of people on the Democratic side got upset with it. Chris Murphy. Anyone else smell it? Yeah." Kennedy added, "Right now, if you're a veteran and you go to the VA and say, 'I'm having trouble with my finances, and I'd like your help,' and the VA places you in conservatorship, your name automatically goes on the list, and they take away your guns." Keep in mind, these are veterans who fought for our country. You say you're in financial trouble, the VA offers to help you and puts you in conservatorship, and they take your guns away because you're now in conservatorship. This is kind of like when you're on base, you can't have guns, but then you can be deployed across the nation for all these wars. Across the country, or excuse me, world for all these wars. It's kind of that same vibe. Now, this is a big one, because if they're going to take your guns for asking for financial help after you serve this country, we got a bit of an issue. Now, of course, we've got to hear from Senator Chris Murphy, Mr. Gun Control of the Senate, because this is clearly so far beyond the pale to give veterans gun rights and protections? Ugh, gross. Check out what he said. Senate Democrats, led by Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, a leading advocate of addressing gun violence, say they will try to defeat Kennedy's amendment on the floor. They're going to try to defeat the amendment on the floor. "It's a disaster. It will result in a dramatic spike in veteran suicides. I'll vote against it," he said. "I'm going to vote against it and try to defeat it on the floor." What in the F? Show me how it's going to prevent veteran suicides. A veteran goes to the VA and says, "I need financial help," after they served the country with their lives. And then you go, "Nah, we can't do that. We're going to take all your guns away because you're in financial dire straits. Therefore, you can be more suicidal. So therefore, you're going to kill yourself. So therefore," turns out no gun rights. That's the leap they're taking, and they're vowing to defeat it. The Honorable Chris Murphy. That is why I call this guy Gun Control fiend in the Senate, because that's exactly what he is. He argued that the veterans now being denied firearms have been judged mentally incompetent. Ooh, red flag laws are showing up. I wonder why he would be defending it. Quote, I think there's a legitimate conversation about making that process better, but if we no longer have consensus that people with serious mental illness shouldn't have weapons, that's real trouble, he said. Yeah, real trouble for your red flag law wet dream that you passed in the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act and all the things you're pushing nationally. This is all tied into the bigger narrative of what he's pushing, which is why he's going against this. Because if veterans can have their gun rights protected when they're asking for financial help, well, then that means civilians can have their rights protected when they're asking for something, or there is some other extenuating circumstance. Everything is connected, and this guy is always the one to tell you you can't have rights. Isn't that interesting? Quote, the only people that are in this category is people the VA has adjudicated as mentally incompetent, he said. The finding is not a finding that you can't balance your checkbook. The finding is that you are mentally incompetent. So that's the two different stories right there. John Kennedy from Louisiana says, yeah, no, if you ask for financial help, they're going to take your guns away. And then Chris Murphy goes, no, it's only if you're found mentally adjudicated. Really? Well, that's two ends of the spectrum. And that is why we're going to follow this like a bloodhound, because this one, people, this is a big one. And no one noticed it because all of the different things that we got forced through a fire hose last week. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.